Good day, my fellow cyclists. Today we are going to be looking at something that has a much larger motor than I have. It's going to be none other than the Talon E bike. Talon E. The giant Talon E. To get the formalities out of the way, if you do enjoy this kind of content, please like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what bike you hope that I could get my hands on, because everything is hard to get at the moment. As you all know, if you've been following the channel, I do want to do a couple more updates. I have some more info. I've just been waiting until it gets a little bit more concise. In the next couple videos that I do, I want to at least open up that discussion of should the e-bikes be allowed on trails, pros, cons. What do you guys think? That's not what we're here for today. Today we are here to actually take a look at, I'm gonna call it an entry level, true mountain bike. Let's take a look at it. So here it is, the Talon E. The Giant is so original with their naming of their e-bikes. You know, everything is Talon E or Rain E. First impressions, just pulling it out of the box. The first one that we got of this actually went so freaking quickly that I saw it being built and I didn't see it ever again. So this is going to be the second one I've ever seen. It's gonna be the second one I've ever seen. This is gonna be the second one I've ever seen. It's early, be quiet. This is hard to do, right guys? Because I know stuff has went up in price. It is expensive now for any bicycle. So I'm trying to battle that out in my head. So if I go based off of the pre-pandemic pricing, some of this stuff I'd be a little bit let down on, like the fork, because typically what I say to get an e-bike version of something, it's gonna be about $1,000 more. That's used to be the running rate. So if you had a bike that was like $1,500, add $1,000 and that is the e-bike version, give or take a little bit. This bike comes in at $2,750. So if I take a step back, that would be, let's just say, a $1,700 acoustic bicycle. But if you take a step back and you just look at it, for a $1,700 standard bicycle, this would be a really big letdown. So the wheels are generic, nothing fancy, nothing terrible. They're decent giant wheels. They're gonna last a long time. Giant wheels are phenomenal, except for the few that they had like on the Propel, those were junk. It does have a tapered head tube, which is great. It is a 1x, but it is a 1x10, I believe. 1x9, sorry. But it's a 1x9, but it is a 1x9 made specifically for e-bikes, if that makes sense. So these shifters, they know that there's a lot of power in these bikes, right? They don't do the typical, like I call it panic shifting, where you just hit it and it'll shift like up to 3 times in a row. These will only shift 1 gear at a time, and that's so you don't rip your derailleur off by putting down 500 watts or whatever it is. It's got Tektro brakes on it. They are hydraulic, obviously. Mineral oil brakes, which I love. Don't like dot fluid brakes. They all seem to fail. Now, if we move along to the battery pack. It is an Energy Pack 400. Keys are on the left side here. Turn the key, take the battery off. Told you, this is a first look. Side release Energy Pack. So this is a 36 volt lithium ion battery, and the energy is 409 watt hours. Pretty standard, but the drive unit, all of that is made by Yamaha. To me, if you're gonna get an e-bike, get something that's got a good warranty on it. That is my #1 thing. Yamaha is great. Bosch is great. So everybody's #1 thing that they ask is how long does the e-bike actually last? So they give you a range. Basically, there's so many things that can determine how long it'll last, just like your human body battery when you're pedaling a bike. If it is a flat road, you're gonna be able to pedal a lot farther than if you're going up the side of a hill. So what they claim is in extreme conditions, so like big headwind, straight uphill, you get about 34 miles. which is not bad. Not bad at all. In the ideal conditions, you get about 93 miles. Most conditions, you're gonna get about 65. That is not bad for a mountain bike. If you ride 65 miles in a ride, one ride on this, that's a hell of a ride, whether you're pedaling or you're being assisted in your pedaling. So its torque is 50 Newton meters. It's got 5 modes plus an automatic mode, which is really, really cool. So the automatic mode, easiest way to describe it, and this is what, I call it progressive mode. Don't ask me why, but automatic mode is what they call it. So you set it in this mode, it simulates riding a bike way more than if you just have it set to a certain power mode. So when you select a certain power mode, your 1 through 5, basically you were telling it to add a certain amount of watts. So if you're producing 100 watts, the bike is gonna add 50 watts to that, or 100 watts to that, or 150 watts to that. So every time you press the pedals, it is just adding. If you do this progressive or this automatic mode, it's the harder you pedal, the more wattage it's gonna help you put out, which is really, really cool, because basically what that does, if you're just tooting along, it's a slight downhill, this thing is gonna be barely helping you. Not that much at all. But as soon as you hit a hill, it's gonna kick into overdrive and it's gonna start going, 300 watts more. So it's progressive, it's not always just adding this set amount, it fluctuates based off of your pedaling. So it makes it feel a lot like a bicycle. I think Giant should make these things only have like the first 3 modes, eliminate 4 and 5, and then just have that progressive mode, because I can see where people could kill themselves if you put this on wide open on 5 if you're not used to riding anything with a motor or riding that fast on a bicycle. 5 has some torque. It's kind of sketchy when you're on a tighter trail like Poston or something. You can get away from you. The fork leaves a lot to be desired though. It is a coil 29 SR Suntour. It is tapered, which is fine. That's the first thing. If you really wanted to do any sort of riding with this bike, I would get a brand new fork and a new front wheel, because this is a quick release, which is sad. That is my biggest complaint with this bike for the money. It is its quick release front and rear. I know it's a Talon Giant, but it's an e-bike, and I am all about the sturdiness of a through axle front and rear. I would say this bike is great for blue level trails and below, and greenways, of course. This bike it's not light, it's an e-bike. It's gonna be heavy. So having a beefier front fork to help you take up some of the abuse that this bike's gonna dish out on itself because of the weight, that's gonna help a lot in the long run. And I worry about the quick release in the rear. If you don't stay on top of quick releases when you're putting out a lot of power, they can shift. Your wheel can get cockeyed in them. It is 20 miles an hour max. I've seen tells you can unlock them, but that voids your warranty. I don't know how to do it. I haven't done it on any bike. I did ride one that would go 55 miles an hour, and it scared the crap out of me because it was on a Giant Sedona that's a hybrid. That was awesome. So it's 2 years on all the electronics, lifetime on the frame. That's pretty decent. So I would recommend just making sure before your 2-year warranty's up, get a tune-up on the thing, get your local bike shop to check over everything, make sure nothing is malfunctioning that needs to be warranted before that runs out. Also, if you check the Giant website, it doesn't say microshift, or at least the ones that I checked didn't, because the last one of these that we got in had Shimano Alivio on it. I actually like this microshift Advent stuff better than the cheap Shimano stuff. It's definitely a little bit more sturdy. It looks better, in my opinion. If you check the bottom of all these websites for bicycles, they all say the same thing, like the components are subject to change at a moment's notice, whatever. But the reason they're doing that is because Shimano stuff is so hard to get right now because of obvious reasons, the shipping inabilities, factories catching fire, a bunch of reasons. So they've switched over to using microshift on a lot of their more price point oriented bicycles, and that's helped actually get these bikes here quicker. So to me, if you have to sacrifice a shifter and a derailleur from Shimano and put microshift on it to get it here, I'm fine with that. But yeah, so what do I actually think about this bike? For the price increase, if you would have asked me 2 years ago pre-pandemic, I'd be like, man, that seems kind of expensive. But post-pandemic, it's not that bad. And that's what kills me with trying to review a bike based off a price point when it comes to this stuff. To me, I would be way more excited to give this bike a much better review if it had a better fork on it, and it would be through axle, front and rear. I'm gonna have to give this thing a 3 out of 5, only because the times have had to force me to really look at stuff a little bit closer to give a review. Because no longer is our price points just, I don't know, like it should be this price. It's not like set in stone that for a decent entry-level e-mountain bike, it has to be 25. Most of your big companies were kind of around that same price point. If you look at a smaller company like Salsa, you can't even get a bike from them. So being able to get a bike has something of value. There you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. The next, I don't know, 3 to 4 videos I put out, one of them I do want to discuss e-bikes with you all. That's what I got for you today, though. Hope you enjoyed it. I love you all. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.